Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor Phillips, and thank you, folks, for coming out this evening and giving me the opportunity to share my views concerning the slot referendum and our upcoming election, which, by the way, will allow for up to 2,500 slot machines to be placed just up the road in Perryville. The annual revenue from this slot parlor is projected to be between $300 and $350 million a year, with Harford and Cecil counties being the target market. To impress upon you what will happen when that much discretionary spending money is extracted out of our economy, I'd like to read from an article in which Joseph Neapolitan, the consultant responsible for bringing gambling to Atlantic City, has this to say. And when you're talking to people, this is a strong, strong article. He says, "I believe my own propaganda," says Joseph Neapolitan, political consultant. "In 1976, I was instrumental in bringing gambling to Atlantic City. This was the worst mistake I made in 38 years of running campaigns. We assumed it would create thousands of new jobs, revitalize the city, restore its economic strength, and make Atlantic City a better place to live. I sincerely thought it would be a boon to Atlantic City. Within 3 years, the crime rate tripled. It went from 50th in the nation in per capita crime to number 1. 40% of the local restaurants went out of business. The number of homeless people increased by 2,000%. Property values dropped. There was violence. More people went on welfare. Shelters were jammed. An unseemly number of teenagers became gambling addicts, and prostitution was rampant. Anyone who thinks economic problems can be solved by gambling is closing his or her eyes to reality. We made a mistake. It can destroy the heart and soul of a city." In a study funded by the University of Massachusetts, the research indicates this same scenario is being played out through the United States, all along the Mississippi River and throughout the United States where slot machines have been approved. If the state's projected revenues are reached, it will certainly have the same devastating effect on our communities. Now let's take for a moment and look at the benefits, the 3 main benefits that the gaming industry and some of our politicians are touting, and see if the statistics bear them out. Education. We need not go out of the state for the research that's been done that indicates in every state where gaming has been implemented to fund education, the net benefit has been 0. All we need to do is look at our own lottery, which was supposed to fully fund our education programs. It started first with a once-a-week drawing, then once a day, then twice a day, then instant scratch-offs, and now slots. The lottery did not solve the problem, and neither will the slots. The other thing is that Mr. Meisner touched on, the economy, money going out of the state. The assertion is that it'll keep gambling dollars from leaving the state. Based on Maryland's gross economic product in 2007, the amount of revenue leaving the state amounts to just a little bit more than 0.1%. With slots, immediately 40% will go out of the state and out of the country and into the pockets of gaming companies and out-of-state horse owners. The third, and you hear it all the time, is the horse industry. As an owner, trainer, and breeder of thoroughbred horses, no one wants to see this industry flourish more than I do, but not at the expense of our state and our citizens. Where slots have been installed on or near racetracks, the wagering on horse racing has gone down an average of 30%. Horse racing then becomes a welfare recipient. With little or no investment being made to grow the industry, it becomes totally reliant on the pull of a slot machine handle for its survival. As opposed to Charlestown, West Virginia, and Delaware Park, Maryland has a long and glorious racing history, with the Preakness, the state's marquee event that provides a market base which can be built upon without us having to compete with slot machines. Now, there's one thing I do agree on. We heard it's going to help preserve open space. and I believe it will help preserve the open space that exists between the ears of the Magna Entertainment executives up in Canada that have so mismanaged the racetracks they own, including ours here in Maryland, that they are now $500 million in debt and will most likely have to liquidate with or without slots. It'll also help preserve the open space that exists between the ears of the politicians that are proposing this preposterous solution to our budget problems. Yeah. Now, Magna in the past few weeks has poured $2 million into the state of Maryland in an attempt to buy this election, something they tried on 2 other occasions and without success in Palm Beach County, Florida, and in Sacramento, California. Apparently, the folks in those states had something between their ears besides open space, and I believe it's called common sense. Let's show these scoundrels that we have something between our ears other than open space by defeating this referendum and send them packing. Now, how can we go about this task? It's taken a lot of hard work up until now, and it's going to take more hard work from now to election.